Hello, Karan Advani. Welcome to Oddballs and Outcasts. We are in a different studio today. And how are you liking the new look? And how are you? How have you been?
Looks really good. Thanks for having me. Been long overdue.
Yeah.
Week's been hectic, but manageable. It's fun.
I think it ended on the right note, right? India, Bangladesh, India, Pakistan. Sorry, India picking up an easy win.
Very
Did
few
you
things.
watch the game?
Yeah, I watched every ball. I was with my dad. I told him weeks ago that no matter what happens, I'm going to watch the game with you. But then the result was better than expected. At the end of the day, I don't mind getting a win against Pakistan in any scenario.
Yeah.
But the way we did it yesterday, I'm going to remember that for a long time.
Yeah, like we won the toss and we chose to bowl. And at that time, I was a bit skeptical about the decision. I thought that we would have batted first, put runs on the board. That's always my approach against someone like Pakistan. But and then when I saw them 155 for 2, I said, okay, this is going to be a long day. India has got a good record against Pakistan in World Cups, but you never know. Like, there's always a first. And it looked at that stage that it was probably 50-50. And then they just began their collapse. Did you see that collapse happening?
No way anyone could have predicted that. And yeah, coming back to your point, like even I would have rather batted first, because chasing against a team like Pakistan with their new ball attack, you don't want that Australia 2-4-3 scenario again.
Yeah.
Because then they can like really choke you, because Nawaz and Shadab would just take overs away in no time, and that becomes a headache. But touch wood, things went well. So, looking forward to the next game, which is hopefully the semis against them.
Yeah. But I was actually pretty confident after the first ball because Rohit just hit it, I think, on the onside for a 4. And that just like eased the pressure, because there's always tension in the first few overs when you're chasing a low score. And you saw with Australia how that happens. So I think that really eased the pressure. And it's good to see Gill back as well.
Yeah, and it's a well-known fact that Rohit Sharma in the first 15 to 20 balls is one of the worst sides to watch. But then once he's in, gets just fireworks. So you don't see a guy like him with his fitness, with his mentality to just turn a corner like he has over the last decade. He's just one phenomenal player, man. Like, we're honored to watch a player like him in limited overs.
Yeah.
For as long as he has played. So hopefully he can go that one step further and get the World Cup. Keep the World Cup home, rather.
Yeah. I was listening in commentary that he's one of the few people who is muscular, who muscles the ball as well as shows elegance. Like, there are players that are elegant, but then they cannot time the ball that well. They cannot hit it that far. And he does all three. And over the years, he's had issues with consistency, but I feel whenever there are ICC tournaments, somehow he's just showing up and delivering for India. So, do you see him being the highest run getter this tournament? Because I think there's a really good chance of that happening.
I'm actually conflicted when it comes to the highest score, because the modern era is such that you can get somebody like a Devon Conway play against a Netherlands, score a double century, run ahead.
Yeah.
So it becomes difficult to predict that, because I think 2015 World Cup we saw like 2 or 3 double centuries. I think Guptill got one, Gale got one. So it was like the tournament of daddy hundreds.
Yeah.
So you can never say that you go to a Delhi, you come to a Pune, which is like one of the worst stadiums for bowlers.
Yeah, it's a very small ground.
Yeah. So it's hard to predict that. But Sharma started well. I back him. But let's see. It's going to either be a Kiwi or it's going to be an Indian. I don't see any other teams having the opening strength to like carry on. Mendes has started off really well, but I don't expect Sri Lanka to go very far.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be between Sharma and Conway, I believe.
And have you been surprised by Australia's disappointing start to the World Cup? I didn't see this coming. Like, for me, they were one of the favorites. I thought they'll finish second or third. And now even fourth seems pretty doubtful.
It doesn't surprise me, because I don't really fancy their batting balance, because when you look at somebody that's going to just rotate the strike, keep the runs flowing, keep the scoreboard ticking, they have far too many of those players. You look at a Smith, you look at a Labuschagne, you look at somebody like Warner in the middle overs as well, till the time he settles.
Yeah.
You're not going to see those regular occurrences of boundaries. So they need that Travis Head. They need that Maxwell to come in maybe at 4, maybe at 5, so that they can at least keep one end aggressive, because India in that sense has their balance spot on. You have the Iyer who's going to target the spinners. You have the Rahul who's going to keep it moving. You know that Sharma is going to hit the bad ball no matter what happens. So that balance is really good. And Australia are lacking in that department. And speaking of their bowling, they're highly dependent on Stark.
Yeah.
So the new ball attack with Cummins and Hazelwood, they're not going to get the swing and seam movement in India. So that's going to be something that if people can get past the first 2 overs, then it becomes quite simple to get past the Cummins and the Hazelwoods. And the spinners, they're like Maxwell is like one of their main spinners, which makes no sense to us.
And in a country like India, you need good spinners.
Yeah.
Which I feel even Pakistan are lacking.
Yeah, Pakistan, they lack that finger spinner because Nawaz hasn't been in form. But Australia, they have a lot of things to think about because New Zealand and South Africa have been really good at the start of the tournament. And if they go on a run of like those 3, 4, 5 wins, that makes Australia's position in the top 4 really difficult because I'm assuming that India and New Zealand sort of, they have their bases covered.
Yeah, I think India need around 3 wins now. Maybe
4 wins would guarantee it.
Yeah.
Because they yet to play the likes of Netherlands, they have Bangladesh, they have Sri Lanka. So India should be safe. And I'm not somebody that cares about topping the table because like the format is such. It's not the IPL style format that you're getting 2 chances.
That's true.
So I care about qualification and then turn up in the semi-finals. Like something what New Zealand are experts at. So it's going to be a mentality game and hoping things go well. And Australia, never want to see them in a World Cup because the 50-over World Cup, it's like their tournament.
Yeah.
So if they go out, might as well. It's good news for us.
And who would have seen that after the run they had from 99 to 2007, that they'll be in such a sorry state 2 games, 3 games into the World Cup?
But it doesn't surprise me because that team was too good to be true. Like, I've never seen 10 or 11 world-class players playing together, fitting, like having that balance. You think of the Simons and the Clark, they're going to finish games for you. You have your Hussies, you have your Gilchrist, Hayden. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah, they had good openers too, aggressive openers. Then they had someone like Ponting in case the openers fail. They've got someone in the lower order to, balance things out. And then you had Shane Warnes chipping in with runs as well. So
Brett Lee would get a few runs. The only people that wouldn't bowl were like maybe you think of a McGrath, you think of a Gillespie, Kaspovich, McGill. They wouldn't get their runs, but then you always had that stability. And they never needed their lower order.
That's true.
Because like they have 7 brilliant batsmen and the pitches didn't matter to them. I think they went on that crazy 30 match winning streak, which was absurd. You can't even think of it in the modern day.
I feel even Michael Bevan, he doesn't get enough credit. He was an unbelievable finisher.
One of the best finishers we've seen. Like you think of a Dhoni, you think of him, you think of Stokes in the modern day. But like those players, they could read situations in ways that players could just dream of because they could premeditate the bowler's thought process. And in that era, for Michael Bevan to do what he did, unheard of. Sensational player. Like it sort of reminds me of how Vivian Richards used to bully bowlers in that era, batting at a strike rate of 85, 89 in the 1970s, 80s is crazy. You can't, with those paper bats, like I call them. It's amazing, really.
But you didn't mention Kohli in your list of finishers, and that's pretty interesting.
I wouldn't classify him to be a conventional finisher as such, because he's one of those players that doesn't throw his wicket away. A bowler needs to really earn the right to get Virat Kohli out, unless you're bowling outside the off stump over the last 3 years. That's a different thing. But Kohli doesn't throw his wicket away. He's one of those guys that knows when to take the singles, when to take the doubles. And I feel that he is the perfect partner to have in the middle, because if you're a KL Rahul, if you're a Shreyas Iyer that can power and time the ball, Kohli is going to give you the perfect advice on how to tackle each situation. So I feel Kohli, he times his run getting really well. And I couldn't compare him to an MS Dhoni or like a Yuvraj Singh or a Suresh Raina in the last 5 overs. I wouldn't say that he's looking to hit every ball. He's going to hit every ball on merit.
But he's going to take you out of pressure situations, which is something that you need. Like
It's priceless.
no matter what happens, he's always there and someone you can rely on. Over the last few years, obviously it's been shaky, but you'll still rely on him compared to anyone else in the team, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He's one of those. Oh, when you think of the last 15 years, I think 2008 his debut. So after the 2011 World Cup, he really just started to focus a lot on his fitness, a lot of his mental belief.
Yeah.
Because like when we think of the greats of the game, you think of somebody like Kohli, you think of a Sangakkara, you think of a Kallis, Jayawardene. These players, they would adapt their roles so well regardless of format. They were so smart with how they approach the game. So he really thought a lot, and I feel Dhoni has a major impact in that because Dhoni sees the game very differently.
Yeah.
And for Kohli to be vice captain with Dhoni for like, I don't know, 5-6 years, a good 5-6 years. So it was something that really trained him a lot psychologically, and I feel that's given him a lot of gifts in the modern game.
Yeah, I think Dhoni's impact is also not stated enough. Like he's had an impact on a lot of players in this generation.
Yeah, Dhoni was one of those guys that kept you calm. He knew that every situation, every match is winnable. So that mentality, India lacked that, especially away from home. Like you think of a Dada would be someone that made you believe, made you fight, made you look at what the bigger picture is. But Dhoni was like, he was very tactical, very strategic. He knew that every situation is winnable.
Yeah.
So I feel he passed on that, he gave Kohli that balance, and that's why we saw that incredible 5-year test run where we essentially beat everyone.
And Kohli's personality has also changed, right? He joined as this angry young man. We thought he's going to be this brash guy, good looking, getting caught in advertisements and all that, and just losing his focus. But that didn't happen. Like he just took his game to the next level. He became a leader. Like initially I think he was the captain of the Under-19 World Cup winning team.
Right.
Yeah, so, but at that stage, you never really thought he'll be the captain of India, right? You just thought he's one of the best players of that generation, so maybe he'll play for India, but he never struck us as a leader, and then he just grew into that role so well. And I feel he still is, even though he's not the captain. Like, you can see Rohit Sharma and him constantly. And what do you think about the spat that people make about Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli? Do you think it exists?
I think it's absurd. A part of it may be true in the sense that, okay, you know that you're one of the best of all time. This person sitting in front of you is also one of the best of all time. So then you're looking at it as who is going to have the bigger legacy.
Yeah.
So that is something that it's human nature. He might, but I don't think anything is going to be, I don't know, there's no malice in anything. It's like at the end of the day, both of them are team players. Both of them want to win the World Cup for India.
Yeah.
Because I feel that Kohli may not look at 2011 to be the same as 2023.
Yeah, because he's just getting
in the
into it.
Tendulkar zone right now.
Yeah.
So it's like legacy defining, and he's become like the only player to win 2 World Cups. I think Ashwin would become the second, but Kohli is a feeling. He's beyond what most of us would think of any cricketer in India.
Yeah. But say if India win the World Cup this time under Sharma's captaincy, who do you think will have the bigger legacy?
Kohli, hands down. Because when you think of any conversation when it comes to who is the greatest white ball cricketer, Kohli's name is going to come up. When you think of Sharma, he may be one of the best openers of all time. Like I don't know who else I can think of. You think of the Hayden
probably,
Sehwag,
yeah.
Tendulkar, of course. But then Kohli, I feel, is going to have that legacy of being an all-round great. Like he used to bowl his spice from time to time.
Yeah.
He's a great fielder. Like even if he's not fielding the ball, he can. Virat Kohli is the only cricketer who can drop a catch and still motivate the team to field better.
Yeah.
I feel that is one of his biggest plus points in his legacy. So he leads by example. He knows what he's doing. And I feel like legacy-wise, it's not even comparable. Like nobody from this generation is going to ever come close.
Yeah.
Steve Smith is to test cricket what Virat Kohli is to white ball cricket.
That's true. And will you go as far as to say Kohli might be the greatest ODI player of all time?
While chasing, yep. But
That's what they used to say, like Sachin while batting first and then while chasing was 2 different players, and you don't see that with Kohli.
yeah, that's true. But the thing is, Sachin is like so Federer-esque. It's like he means a lot more to the game Because like when you think of Tendulkar's impact in the 90s, 1991 era of globalization, liberalization, privatization, Tendulkar was the face of that modern India.
Yeah.
So he brought the TVs here. He brought the internet here. So if people are thinking of India, they're thinking of in the early 90s, they're thinking of Sachin Tendulkar, they're thinking of Manmohan Singh.
Yeah.
So they're like, so you really can't compare it. And Kohli puts it up perfectly. He says it, the guy who made me pick up a bat cannot be compared to somebody like me.
That's also good. Yeah.
So I'm not sure whether Kohli has that global face.
Yeah, like he's not transcended the game in
Yeah.
the way that Sachin has. And I don't think he will. I don't think anyone will unless something really major happens in the coming years.
And it's unfair. It's very, I don't know, it's unnecessary to compare that as well, because when somebody that follows the game, like you watch the game for like 20-25 years, I watched the game for 20-25 years.
Yeah.
Like we think of Kohli and Tendulkar to be, okay, they're icons of the game. Your Kohli, your Tendulkar, your Gavaskar is going to be far beyond a couple live.
Yeah.
They're going to be far beyond anything else. But even for diehards like us, we're going to look at Tendulkar and Kohli in such different lights. Even if both of them are in the same circle, they mean something so different, because Kohli made us believe like he is going to win you the game. He is going to like just grab the game by its throat, win the game for you. Tendulkar is somebody who's going to carry you.
Yeah.
It's like similar sentiments, but they mean two different things. So I feel like you really can't compare that. It makes no sense.
And what do you think about Sachin's suggestion to change the format of ODI cricket?
Give me a petition. Tendulkar should be nowhere near a broadcast channel. He's one of the
His commentary
worst.
was disastrous. I don't know. They just got him on for viewership, I guess, because I don't think he was offering any insight that you would want to know. He was just sharing stories of the past and comparing this generation to that generation and how cricket has changed and all, rather than giving insights. That's what ex-cricketers are on for, right? You have to tell you what's going to happen, why is a certain thing happening. And this seemed more like it seemed like a podcast rather than a commentary.
He treats commentary to be an interview, which makes no sense, because I remember Rizwan played a ramp shot that went for 4, like after some 4-5 overs of no boundaries, so there was a little bit of pressure. So Rizwan plays this ramp shot, it goes to the boundary, and then Tendulkar is talking about some dinner. Some dinner he had 30 years ago with, I don't know, God knows who, even I couldn't hear it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hear it.
I think Waqar was in the commentary box with him, and they were just talking about their era and how cricket was back then, things like that. And is that what people want to hear? Like, obviously, they'll see Sachin, there are crazy fans. But is that really what people want? Like, I think it was going overseas too, the broadcast. So, or was this just for
No,
Star
it's
Sport?
overseas.
It's overseas, yeah. So, because I saw people on Twitter in the UK complaining about it, saying that, Sachin is just asking for the change of rules because he doesn't want Kohli to break his record and things like that. So, what do you think of that format? Do you think it will maybe add something different to ODI cricket, because it doesn't have the same kind of appeal because of T20 cricket, right?
Yeah, but
like to us it does, but I'm just saying globally and
it
for
doesn't
the
make
next
sense,
generation.
because the major difference between the game, like even 20 years ago, you think of 2003 World Cup versus this World Cup, the biggest difference is not the format. The format is the same. It's the psychology behind it. You think of any format, you see this baseball craze that's going on in Test cricket. Players are going to be aggressive no matter what you do to the format now.
Yeah.
Because people believe that they can hit any bowler at any ground on any pitch. It's just something that's wired in them now. A Ben Stokes is not going to give a prime Dale respect anymore. He is going to find the bad ball. He is going to punish the bad ball.
Yeah.
But somebody like a Rahul Dravid or somebody, even a Yuvraj Singh, he had that mentality that he can hurt anyone. But Yuvraj Singh from 2008 is very different to a Ben Stokes in 2023.
Yeah,
even
that's
with the same approach, they're going to look at the game very differently, because they're thinking of the bigger picture. But Ben Stokes is like, I'm any bowler, any reputation, any bad ball, I'm going to punish it. And that's like such a difference. And this whole argument or this whole discussion about 4 innings in a ODIs, 25 overs each, it makes no sense, because you want to give the same 10 wickets. It's not like you're going to make it similar to Test cricket.
Yeah.
It's going to be 10 wickets. So essentially what you're asking a batsman to do is a Maxwell. He comes in the 22nd over. He bats for 3 overs. He's not going to treat it as a finish. He knows that he still has the 25 overs that are going to come to him.
Yeah.
So there's no reason for him to change his approach. So what's the point? You're just telling a batsman to just go back to the pavilion for, I don't know, for 20 minutes, then feed for 25 overs, and then again come back with the same mindset. It makes no sense. ODI cricket is a broken format. I feel the future of ODI cricket is either you scrap it or you may have to make it a 40 over thing. Like 60 overs became 50 overs, you may have to make 50 overs 40 overs. Because none of us cares about 20 overs 21 to 40 anymore.
Yeah.
So that's what you may have to do in the future, but absurd opinion. Like I wouldn't even consider it. I don't even think Tendulkar's family would consider it.
But why do you think he's suggesting these things? Let's be a bit controversial there. Why do you think he's doing it? Is he doing it because of the record, or is he doing it because he himself is bored of ODI cricket?
I feel Tendulkar must be bored of cricket in general. Like I don't think he may have the time or the energy to be watching entire games anymore.
Yeah.
Either. But I don't think it's a record thing, because even if you made it a 60 over game, Kohli is not breaking Tendulkar's ODI record, because the Kohli needs some 5,000 plus runs, and you're not going to play ODI bilaterals anymore. You're going to play it in World Cup years. It's never going to be a era where you're playing 30 ODIs anymore a year.
Yeah,
it's
but
never
you're still playing ODIs, right?
Yeah, but how many are you going to play?
How many years does Kohli have more?
He's 35, 34, 35.
So you think how many? 3-4 years more?
I feel he retires after the 27 World Cup, regardless of where he is in his career.
Okay.
So even if you take it as one more cycle, 4 years, I would assume he plays 60 games, 60, 65 games. So you're like expecting 5,500 runs in 60 games, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Because you're expecting like 1,000, 1,200 runs essentially per year, which is never going to happen, because Kohli will be rested in those odd games against maybe West Indies or Bangladesh.
Yeah.
He's not going to want to play it because he's playing the IPL, he's playing Test cricket, he's playing T20s. So he's going to miss games. So realistically, out of those 65 games, he will miss about 10-15 of them. So is he going to score 5,000 runs in 40 games? It's never going to happen. So I don't think it's a record thing. He's safe that way.
Yeah.
And I feel that's going to like stand the test of time. I don't think anybody breaks Lara's 400 either.
Yeah, probably
Because
not.
Test cricket is a very different game now.
Yeah. 400 I think is a lot. If it was maybe 300 or something, that probably could have been broken. But 400 is
No
it's just
chance.
no chance, yeah.
In the modern game, nobody has the temperament or the patience to do it also.
Yeah. And there are teams that declare before 400 these days, as you saw with England. So the game is just changing in such a dramatic way. So now I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you to predict the World Cup. Who are going to be your top 4? And your predictions get you into a lot of trouble. So
No, my last World Cup prediction was bang on. I just predicted Pakistan over New Zealand, and it was like 4th, 5th. So
Okay.
essentially the correct thing. I think India top the table. In India, New Zealand. I think England come in because they'll go on a run now. And I'm conflicted between South Africa and Pakistan actually, because I'm not sure about whether Pakistan are in the mental headspace to get in. But South Africa at the moment are playing really well. If De Kock continues his form, I think they finish 4th. But so I'm going to go with South Africa. India, South Africa, New Zealand, England.
okay. What do you think is up with Pakistan? Do you think that the Asia Cup, if they would have done better there, probably won it, they would have come into the World Cup in better shape, in better headspace? Would that have changed things?
It's hard to put it down to one factor, because it's very psychological. These tournaments, you can be in the greatest form and then have one bad game and go out. Something that happened to us in 2019.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, but like Pakistan, I feel they have a great team. It's balanced. They need that one finger spinner that they were missing. But overall, when you think of it, you have your Shafiq, you have your Rizwan, Babar. They are going to get you runs. It's not something that you stress about. And like all of these PSL players that have come in, they're very attacking English mentality players. They're not going to sit down. Like
Yeah.
Shadab, that way he's like very three-dimensional. Very good bowler, He'll get you your 20-30 runs. He'll feed really well. So I'm like, they have those three-dimensional players. They have the new ball attack. Naseem is somebody they miss. But I feel Pakistan's psychological rather than ability-wise, because ability-wise, they're on par with a South Africa or a New Zealand. They may be better than the New Zealand, because New Zealand are always dependent on your Bolts and your Saudis.
Yeah.
But they lack that third pacer. They try like 10 people. They try their Jamisons and their Adam Mills and their Fergusons and all of that.
But Santner's also been really good this World Cup, so that's another...
Santner is always good in India.
Yeah.
Like
the wickets suit him.
Wickets suit him, and like he's really smart. He's very Vittorious with his street smarts. He'll keep one end tight. He'll not give away silly runs, and he'll frustrate players to making mistakes, and that's something that will be rewarded in India.
Yeah.
Because like psychologically, a batsman is thinking to score quick runs in India, and if you have your Santner, you have your Jadeja, who is not letting you get those easy singles and finishing overs in like a minute or two.
Yeah.
That's really frustrating for batsmen, and that's going to be rewarded in India. So I feel Santner is like a beneficiary of that.
I think India-New Zealand is going to be a really interesting game. It's harder to call than what most people think, I feel. And we always struggle against New Zealand in World Cup.
Lose by 10 wickets, I don't care. Win the semi-finals versus them or the finals versus them.
I feel we need a loss just to humble us. If we win all games, I feel India gets complacent. That's happened a lot in the past in different tournaments.
The major difference is if India wins all their group games, let's say they win all 9, the biggest difference between 2019 and 2023 is the atmosphere in the dressing room. Because like 2019, the whole narrative was about who is India's number 4. Who are India's first seamers? You had your Bumrah, you had your Shami.
Yeah.
But then you're thinking about who's your third pacer in England. So there were so many holes. And like we ended up playing Dinesh Karthik, Shreyas Iyer and who all at number 4. Raidu was played for like 2 years and then he was just scrapped. So that atmosphere was very different. But now people are like, let the result go. Let's have fun. Let's play.
Yeah.
And they're not, I feel this time we're not dependent on Kohli and Rohit. Like we have our Bumrah, Siraj. Even Shardul Thakur is somebody that, you never know what he's going to bring to you.
Yeah.
He may come to the semi-finals and score like a 40 ball 65. He's like crazy that way.
Yeah, and surprising. I think he's more in it for his batting now because against Pakistan also he bowled just 2 overs.
Yeah, it's like Sharma is probably going to go with Ashwin on tracks like Chennai. But Shardul Thakur is only going to be played as like India's best number 8 batsman.
Yeah.
In a sense. And if Hardik Pandya has a bad day, then you're going to give it to Shardul. Otherwise, he's going to bowl you 2 to 4 overs.
Yeah.
Because he's looking for Hardik and Shardul to cumulatively get you 10.
I think Hardik bowled 10 against Pakistan, right? Or how many did he bowl?
Shardul bowled 2, so I would assume Hardik bowled 8.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense. But even Hardik's bowled pretty well this World Cup compared to what standards we have for him.
I'm not a fan of Hardik Pandya's bowling. It's something that I feel he overestimates his bowling ability.
I feel we underestimate it. I feel he's much better than what we give him credit for.
You play so many games against so many teams, you're bound to get those odd games where you're going to take 2-3 wickets because he's bowling those overs. He's bowling either with the new ball where he's going to get help off the deck, or he's going to be bowling like the 44th, 47th over where players are going to attack him.
Yeah.
And Hardik Pandya has that reputation of when he gets hit, he gets hit. So batsmen are not conservative against him. He's not going to get the respect of a Shami or a Bumrah. So people, they see Hardik Pandya and they're like, okay, let's attack him. So he will get those wickets. That's not something that surprises me. But I feel that he's very inconsistent. I feel if he's bowling in Chennai, for example, that's a slow deck. He's going to bowl bouncers over there, which makes no sense. Because his pace is not going to trouble a batsman in Chennai.
Yeah.
He's not a Lockie Ferguson. He's not a Bumrah. So, yeah, I feel Hardik Pandya, if he's okay, he's okay. Otherwise, it's like a bonus. You're in a casino with him.
Yeah, but it's someone you need in the team because he's giving you runs and he's able to bowl 8, 9 overs, 10 overs.
Yeah, he is our 6th bowling option. He has to be in the team.
Yeah.
I don't dispute his spot, but I feel that it's like anything he does is a bonus. It's not something that you can count on. He's not a Ben Stokes. He's not a Shakib Al Hasan. He is that guy who will give you those moments, but he's not going to carry your team.
Yeah.
No chance. Because if you're depending on Hardik Pandya as an Indian team, you should be concerned. So if he does something, then great. If he doesn't, then I didn't expect it anyway. So anything he does is fine. Like, he's just there to fill a spot. That's what I see him as.
Yeah, but let's see how things go. And now moving to chess, I wanted to speak to you about what's going on with Magnus Carlsen recently. So why don't you just tell me what exactly happened? Because the moment I saw it was when he tweeted something Hikaru had posted. Hikaru is another grandmaster, and I think he said something about Magnus crying after he lost or something that way. He was using Magnus for clicks, and basically Magnus said, that's not what I said, but you can still use me for clicks, but at least be authentic. So what exactly happened?
There are two versions of Magnus Carlsen. Like, the one guy who wanted to become world champion, the one guy who wanted to compete with Garry Kasparov, the guy who wanted to be known as the best of all time. And now there's this guy who is very much at peace with where he is. A lot of us, like fans or like even fellow grandmasters, are at peace with the fact that Magnus is the best player that's ever lived. So there are two different versions of Magnus. So now Magnus wants a new challenge. He created this 2900 challenge for himself, which is never going to happen. It's so difficult to do. Like, his peak was some 2870 or something, and that is prime Magnus Carlsen. A motivated Magnus Carlsen.
What is the highest score anyone's ever?
It's Magnus.
It's Magnus only.
Yeah.
Okay.
Magnus is like highest rapid rating ever, highest classical rating ever, highest undefeated rating ever, like undefeated streak. He 5-time world champion, and I think Kasparov is the same. And he's been like world number one for a decade. Ding Liren is like some 60 rating points below him while Magnus is not even world champion, but he's world number one.
Yeah.
So it's like, so Magnus is really shifting towards keeping himself motivated rather than performing now. And I feel that he's been very vocal about these anti-cheating measures ever since the Hans Niemann scandal.
I mean, we'll get to that also.
Yeah, but like, I feel what happened on, like, if for people who don't know, so Magnus is playing this Super GM tournament called the Qatar Masters right now. So there are a bunch of like 70-80 grandmasters. They play in a round robin format. Sorry, a Swiss format.
What is the Swiss format?
Swiss format is like you play the players that have the same form as you.
Okay.
So it's not going to be a case if Magnus has lost 8 games. Vishy Anand is not going to play Magnus in bad form. So Vishy, if he's on 7 out of 9, he'll play somebody with 7 out of 9 or maybe 7.5 or 6.5.
Okay.
So it's basically
form. Instead of taking a world ranking, they just take your current form.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the tournament.
In the tournament, okay.
So that's what Magnus is playing right now. And what happened is he was playing this grandmaster. I think he was from Thailand or something. I'm not sure. But he was wearing a casual generic watch with him. And Magnus, he got to the board. He saw that his grandmaster is playing with the watch. So he did not want to... He wasn't there psychologically. He was saying that after so much of drama, after so many cheating scandals, so many anti-cheating measures, if you still allow somebody to come up with a watch during a chess game that you can easily program to get like vibrations or get any any Morse code of any form. So he was very wary of that, and what he did was he lost the game. He got crushed, he got humiliated, and no player in its prime could humiliate Magnus in a way that a 2500 grandmaster has done it.
So were there plenty of blunders or something? What exactly happened?
He made I think 2 decisive blunders, one in the end game and one while he was like just consolidating his opening. He got a slight advantage after the opening, but then he just threw it away. And what happened is, like, after he lost that game, he went on to Twitter and he just said it that how can like the organizers allow a player to come up with a watch. So I wasn't there psychologically. He gave complete props to the player. He's saying he beat me, crushed me, fair enough. I wasn't there psychologically. I deserve to lose. So he was very fair about that. And he wasn't like implying that he cheated or something, but he's just saying that it's one of those triggers that gave him anxiety, made him overthink, and just put him in a position where he couldn't win.
Yeah.
So he's saying that needs to stop. And to his credit, from the next day onwards, they did stop everybody from wearing watches as well. So there was merit in his claim.
But is the rule that you can't wear a watch?
Yeah, FIDE regulations say that you shouldn't be wearing any accessory of any kind, whether they're chains. They have a formal dress code. They won't even allow you to play with those crazy funky shirts, like with color schemes all over the place. So they want a formal shirt, they want a formal pant, no accessories. So that is something that they're very particular about. I have no idea why they allowed a watch on that situation.
But being a chess player, wouldn't he know that you're not allowed to wear a watch?
It's the thing is, when they enter the playing hall, they go through a metal detector, and if nothing is obviously visible, then they allow you to go in.
Okay.
Because he was in the right attire. He was just wearing a basic classical watch.
Like a plastic strap or something
Yeah,
like that.
something really generic. So again, no, he wasn't implying that he cheated or something, but it just put him in the bad headspace, and that's what resulted in the loss, basically.
Okay.
That's what he meant.
So what was Hikaru's take on it? Like, why did he get into so
Hikaru,
much?
what he does is, like, the tournaments that he's playing, he makes a recap video on the same day.
Okay.
So what he did was, he's a typical content creator, typical YouTuber. He's going to use Magnus. He's going to use...
But I thought he was friends with Magnus. They played... Yeah, but to call him out publicly that way on Twitter for his video...
It's something that he just did for clicks, honestly. And I'm pretty sure Magnus and Hikaru, they don't even care about it. And Magnus, he acknowledged it also. He's like, fair enough. Because he's done it hundreds of times. He's like used Magnus's photo randomly. So,
but Magnus seemed bitter about it for some reason.
Because he lost the game.
Yeah.
That's what made him the best of all time. Like, he can't accept losing a game. So if he's lost something and he's gotten crushed, it was his first 2500 GM loss in the last 15 years.
Okay.
So you're basically breaking a 15-year record because of something that is out of, like, away from the chessboard. So that's what Magnus was trying to say. But Hikaru, he just used it for clicks, and then that it's a nothing story, honestly. Nobody is going to get a deep dive into the specifics of it, because, like, Magnus and Hikaru, they may end up having dinner a week later. They won't care.
Yeah.
And as Hikaru always says, I literally don't care. It's his patent dialogue.
And speaking about Hans, there was this huge controversy. I think he recently came on Piers Morgan's show as well.
With his lawyer.
Yeah, Piers Morgan called him and then he just showed up with his lawyer. And I heard him speak when the controversy happened. I heard him speak that day as well. And he just something seems shady about him. Like, he might be a great player, but what is your take on it? Like, first, can you just explain to everyone what the controversy was about?
So basically what happened, there was this tournament known as, I think, the Sinfield Cup. So top GMs, they're invited. So it's not an open tournament where anyone can apply. So Magnus was playing that tournament. Hans was playing. A few Indian players were playing. So Hikaru, Fabiano Caruana, everyone. It was like it's a very prestigious tournament. So then what happened is, on one particular day, Magnus was paired with Hans, and both of them showed up. They played their game, and Magnus got crushed, like in a way where it's not common for Magnus to lose to somebody.
Was it as bad as the one that happened recently?
This was like this was purely psychological, so you can imagine how Magnus would have played. But what happened with Hans was, the time difference was significant. So it was like Hans wasn't thinking as much, and Magnus got crushed. Now the thing is, even if you're in a better position versus Magnus, now that's hard to get, okay. But to convert a winning position versus Magnus is even harder. Because Magnus is so resourceful. He understands what pieces need to go where. He times his moves so well that even if you're winning against him, he will put up a fight. And the way Magnus lost was, like, he lost to a guy that was so clear in thought. He knew that, okay, I'm winning, I can beat this guy. He beat him. Now, anybody that has followed the game of chess, played the game of chess at that level, knows that Magnus is not going to lose a game. If he loses, it's going to be to a very good player. And if he's losing to a very good player, the thought process needs to be very clear and concise.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So now the problem is, Magnus, after the game, he immediately felt that something was suspect about this game. Like, nobody can beat me in this way or form. You want to call it ego, you want to call it self-awareness, makes no difference. But he knew that something was wrong. And now, there's this Argentine presenter. So he was basically doing an interview with the winning players after the round. So Hans has gone for that interview and he has botched that interview.
Yeah, he wasn't giving answers that someone who's made those moves would, right?
Yeah.
Like he was just giving very random answers.
He was giving random lines that any 22 to 2400 player could also see. Never mind Magnus.
Yeah.
So somebody that is so unclear about how to approach the game, somebody who is giving those crazy statements, the chess speaks for itself. That's where it came from.
Yeah.
So if he's giving you these sorts of phrases and such unclear, move orders, that's when you start questioning that how did this guy with that clarity beat the greatest player of all time? So it's a natural instinct to question it. And that's when Magnus tweeted. The iconic Jose Mourinho gif. If I speak, I'm in big trouble.
Yeah.
So that's what he did. So that's when after 2 or 3 weeks, he officially accused Hans of cheating. So this is what the background was. Now, if you ask me about my opinion on how Hans is, I know he's suspect.
Yeah. He's also confessed to cheating, right?
Online, yes.
Yeah.
So during the pandemic, I think 2020, he admitted to cheating in an online event. He got banned for it. Then he apologized. He came back. So he's an admitted cheater. We know that he has the thought process to cheat.
Yeah.
So whether it can be done in an over the board game, I am not creative enough to figure out how.
So there was a theory of anal beads that was being floated.
That was just a joke actually, which just carried on because it was a typical media stunt after a point. Because like it was so catchy. Because like anyways, Magnus losing is news.
Yeah.
Magnus losing to somebody is generation defining news.
Yeah.
So if nobody has ended up beating Magnus, so everybody's anyways talking about it. Then you put this whole cheating scandal, you have your Hikarus, you have your Levi Rosemans making videos on it.
Yeah.
And then somebody just gets creative, they suggest this anal bead thing. I don't know how it would even work. Whether it's a vibration, whether what it is.
Like think about it as a watch, right? But the vibration is not felt on your wrist.
Yeah, but okay. But that was something that was just suggested as like humorous.
But what other way is possible then for him to cheat?
The washroom. Because that's the only way you can think of cheating. Because like if you have a hidden device somewhere, or because after a certain level, you don't need help at every move.
Yeah.
Because no matter what game you play in any format, a standard 80 to 85% conversion in any situation is expected out of you. If you're a grandmaster, you understand the game well enough to have that clarity of thought.
Yeah.
At the super GM level, this 85% it goes above 90%. It's very normal for a player at that level to be 93% accurate with the computer. So you're not looking for every move. If there's a critical tense situation and you get that one move, then you can be accurate enough to see the game out. So you're not looking for every move, you're looking for 2 moves in maybe out of 60.
Yeah.
So that is something that is very difficult to detect also. Because it's possible a super grandmaster can find the best move in a critical situation. That is expected out of them. So that's why it becomes difficult to catch. So now how he did it, whether he did it, my guess is just as good as yours.
Yeah.
But he is suspect. Like that is something that the way he talks, the way he behaves, and like he feels that he's on a level where he doesn't have to justify his actions. So he's like very cocky that way.
Okay.
So then, yeah, I'm pretty sure that he would have done something at some point of time.
And
I don't know.
the fact that he showed up with his lawyer for an interview tells you that there are certain things that the lawyer will not want him to say, which kind of suggests that there might be something untoward.
Yeah, for sure. Like nobody knows the evidence Magnus put. Nobody knows the evidence chess.com released against Hans.
Yeah.
So obviously there will be things that he's not allowed to talk about, legally speaking, because even if I'm with my client, I don't allow him or her to speak about everything.
Yeah.
So even with fellow loyals, you don't talk about your clients because it's just confidential stuff. But the timing of it is so strange. The case happened.
Yeah. What happened after that?
It got settled.
Okay, it got settled by whom? Like chess.com?
Both of them. I think the US court just dismissed the case.
Okay.
They're saying that it's not defamation, and they also could not prove that it's cheating. They just basically it got smoothed out.
All right. Okay.
So then nothing happened essentially, and after that, Piers Morgan, he does an interview, and you're still getting a lawyer. So after everything is gone through, why do you need a lawyer to prompt you with details? You know it enough that you can give your interview. So that makes it even more suspect. So at this point of time, if you ask me about my opinion, I'm pretty sure he cheated. How? I don't know, because I don't play at that level. I don't know the security checks there.
Yeah.
But if you ask me, I do think he cheated, yes.
But was he banned or suspended? What was the situation?
He was playing tournaments actually. He's been playing, I think 2023, he's been one of the most active players.
Okay.
He's played a lot of chess over the last 18 months after this whole scandal.
Has he played Magnus again?
I think he played him once. Magnus played him a couple of times, but then he resigned after playing the first move.
Oh yeah, I read about that too.
So
why did that happen?
Magnus
just
did not
to
want to
protest.
play.
Just to protest.
Not protest, he's just saying that I don't want to play this guy. So he's like, I'm willing to take the loss for it. I don't expect a point or some compensation or anything.
But doesn't that like ruin the integrity of a tournament? Like every time you know that if these two come, Magnus is doing that, then that kind of diminishes the importance of two grandmasters playing each other.
That was the criticism of him at the time. They're saying that people that are working hard to beat you, let's say if I'm a top GM, like I'm a Jan Nepomniachtchi, I beat you clean. Then the next round you have to play Hans, you resign for no reason.
Exactly.
So my hard work is practically pointless. So it's like I would rather cheat against you because I know you will resign regardless the next time.
Exactly.
So that is what happened. But now I think after that, Magnus and Hans have played one game, which Magnus won.
Okay.
But I think they played one game since that, and after that, I don't think they've played the same tournaments because chess at the highest level, it's not something that you apply for. You get invited because there are like 7 or 8 players that play, and you get invited for them. So I don't think any organizers want to invite Magnus and Hans in the same tournament.
Okay.
And they're not even the same level, let's be honest. Like so Magnus is like 28-30 at the moment, and Hans is like 26-50.
Okay.
It's like a massive drop.
And where is Praggnanandhaa?
Praggnanandhaa, yeah. He's, I think his rating is from 27-42. He's top 15 right now.
Okay. How did he just suddenly burst onto the scene? Or has he been talked about a lot in the...
He is the Prithvi Shaw of the chess world for us. Like how Prithvi Shaw was deemed to be the next big thing for Indian cricket. Pragg was the youngest grandmaster.
Yeah.
At the age of 12, he became a GM. So he's always been seen as the guy to take Vishy Anand's legacy forward.
Okay.
But right now, Indian chess is booming in a sense that we have 7 to 8 brilliant players, like in the top 50, like ranging between 27.55 to 26.50. Tons of Indians.
Yeah.
So everybody is like just one step away from becoming like a top GM. So yeah, Pragg that way he's always been there. In the middle, I think he had his exams or something, so he played a little less because he's a kid.
Yeah.
He was like 16, 17. He might have had his board exams or something like that. So yeah, but like Indian chess is like at a really good level. Probably the strongest in the world right now.
And what do you make about his... he had games with Magnus recently, right?
Yeah, he beat Magnus quite a lot. Actually, Pragg is the only guy who has beaten Magnus fairly some 5 to 7 times now.
Okay.
So it's all rapid tournaments. In classical, they haven't beaten... Pragg hasn't beaten Magnus. But rapid, he's beaten him in a match as well. So like best of 4, Pragg has beaten him.
Okay.
So legitimate wins, really good wins. And Magnus is actually one of Pragg's biggest fans. Like recently Pragg played a game against Hikaru where Pragg beat Hikaru 2-0. and Magnus was playing a game on the board beside.
Yeah.
So he just got up from his chair, and during the game, he's ended up gone and congratulating Pragg.
Okay.
So he's always said that Pragg is like most definitely one of the players to watch. He will become a world champion. He's that confident.
But does he see? I mean, do you think that he'll surpass Magnus's legacy?
No, Magnus's legacy will never be surpassed. Because like...
if he's that good at what? How old is he now? 18?
Pragg is 18.
So
18 or 19.
If he's that good at 18, like how is
Magnus
the...
was world champion at 20.
But how is the like journey for chess players? Like when do you consider yourself at your peak? Or is there like no peak? Because the more games you study, the better you get. The more you play,
But
the
your
better
memory
you get.
gets weaker as you get age.
So then what will be considered the peak age
It
for
depends,
a chess
because
player?
you see a Vishy Anand at 55 beating Super GMs today. So Vishy Anand in a lot of senses is the greatest old player to ever play.
Okay.
He can beat Magnus today. And for somebody at 55, 56 to do that to the world champion, to the best player ever, unbelievable. So Vishy has that memory. So how do you define Vishy's peak?
Yeah.
His longevity, he was the India's first grandmaster in 1987. And to this date, like India has, I think, some 82 or 83 grandmasters now. He's still he's India number 2.
Okay. But does he compete regularly?
Not regularly anymore, but he plays those one-off events once every 6-7 months, and he's beaten like Nepo and Ding, like world championship candidates, like 2-3 months ago. So imagine the level that he's playing at.
And has he faced Praggs?
He's beaten Pragg multiple times. Pragg has beaten Vishy multiple times.
But who holds the head-to-head record?
I'm not sure about the head-to-head record. Probably Pragg, because like Pragg is like playing a lot more regularly now. So classical, I don't know. But rapid, I think Pragg might be ahead of Vishy. They might have played some 10-15 games, not more than that.
Okay. And you play chess yourself, right? At a very amateur level.
At a very amateur level, but it's one of those stress busters that I really enjoy. Like it came to a point where I would play at least 10 to 15 rapid games a day.
Okay.
So 3 to 4 hours of chess daily. That was peak pandemic.
Yeah.
So then right now, last 2 months I've taken a break because I was on a free fall. So I just thought, okay, relax a little. But I played my first game back yesterday. I beat a guy with 150 points ahead of me. So then that grind is going to come back.
Are you talking about Adil or?
No. I played this random Uzbekistan guy.
Okay.
Uzbekistan is actually fantastic at chess, man.
That's
like,
because
I think
they are
they
beating
won,
you.
No, it's like they won the Olympiad gold. So it's like the Olympics of chess. Uzbekistan won gold.
Okay.
So they've got a team. They're really good that way.
And
So,
speaking of Olympics, I think chess is now part of the 28 games.
no, chess was part of the Asian Games.
Okay. It's
Olympics, I don't think so.
It's not part of the Olympics.
I
yet?
don't think so, no.
Because cricket is.
Cricket and squash have been added.
Yeah. So chess hasn't been added
No,
yet.
not yet.
Do you think it will?
It should be.
If
because
something like esports is being considered and
I feel
is
like-
added.
Yeah, the positive is like when you compare something like chess to a fencing, more people globally play chess than they do fencing.
Yeah.
So why not? Like the same thing can go for carom. The same thing can go for any other board game.
Yeah.
Rather, like why can't chess is probably the biggest board game in the world. So you have people playing that in 180, 190 countries. So why can't it be there in the Olympics?
Yeah.
So it's not unfair like cricket. Cricket, like there are like 10 teams, 15 teams.
Yeah.
But then chess, if you've got 200 of them, then just play it. It makes no difference to you.
Exactly.
And it's an even playing field. Like Norway may end up getting a gold because of Magnus.
Yeah. And the argument against chess always was that, it's not a sport because there's no physical activity and all of that. But then you're having sports like esports and you're having curling.
So it's
and those
hypocritical.
Exactly. It is pretty hypocritical.
Yeah. So even you can debate something like is pool or billiards a sport?
Yeah, again,
Is
you can.
darts a sport?
Yeah.
Both of them have a physical attribute. What's the difference between darts and archery?
I don't know. I mean, actually,
It's essentially the same thing.
similar things, yeah.
You're using a bow versus you're using your hands. In
Archery
fact, I
is
would say the
probably-
hands are harder to control.
Yeah, but your archery, I think you need a certain amount of strength too, right? Because it's not easy.
You need vision for darts.
Yeah, but you need vision for archery as well.
But when you think of it, for you to use your fingers with accuracy is a lot more challenging than using like a bow that is an equipment designed to give you power.
Yeah, but you're
and-
still going to be using your arms, you're going to be using your shoulder, your hand-eye coordination is going to be there. It's like shooting. Basically, you've got to train for it. It's not that
you got to train a lot for darts. It's not an easy sport.
I know it's not an easy sport, but I'm not putting anything. I'm just saying that darts is easier than archery.
Can't say, but the whole idea of it is so similar.
Yeah.
It's like you're hitting the target, you're getting points based on it. You can make it a team sport very easily.
Yeah.
So then why not?
Yeah, darts has this culture. It's a British thing. People drunk in the pub are playing it. You see some of the best darts player in the world.
Yeah.
They don't look fit at all.
But then you look at 2005 Indian cricketers.
Exactly, but then you look at Tyson Fury, and he doesn't look like the epitome of a heavyweight boxer. And then there he is, arguably the greatest heavyweight of all time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, speaking of the greatest heavyweight of all time, you missed last night's fights. Like you missed the Dillon versus Logan fight, which was arguably the greatest boxing fight of all time.
I've seen fights at Lakshmi Road that are more, I don't know, authentic. It's bogus. Like, I understand the merit of misfits because it gets casuals into the sport. They may end up taking the sport further.
Yeah.
But it's entertainment. Like, it's like so WWE-esque. It's scripted. It's like...
I wouldn't say it's scripted, but I mean, I don't know.
The odds can be so predetermined in this misfits boxing.
Yeah,
because,
that is true.
You get somebody like, let's say for Tommy Fury were to fight yesterday somebody like Slim. You know who's winning. But you put it there.
Yeah.
So what's the difference? It's like you're putting Prime Undertaker versus I don't know, some jobber in the mid card.
Yeah.
So you know what's going to happen. You know it's such similar outcomes. So then what's the difference?
But with Logan and Dillon, you knew Logan's going to win, but you didn't know that it's going to be that one-sided. And because Dillon's got a fighting background, like he's
an MMA.
He's
Jiu-jitsu.
done. Yeah, he's done decently. He's, I think, held world titles. So he's got that fighting background. He's not obviously as good a boxer, and we saw that. So I think he sold the fight that well. He created a situation out of nothing. Like he made it personal for some reason. Like some of the fights you want to see because they've been personal from the start. Like Conor versus Khabib was personal right from the start.
John Jones versus DC.
Yeah. So those fights were personal from the start. This wasn't, and then he just made it personal and then got the casuals into it. And then to see the way he fought, he just let everyone down. Like he didn't throw punches. I think he threw one punch or something.
He threw 10 punches in the whole fight.
I mean, I think he landed one punch, and that's the one he's posted on his Twitter.
I back myself to land one punch on Logan in a boxing match.
Yeah, but then you'll get knocked out in
That's fine.
5 seconds. But he didn't want that because then, I mean, people are still laughing at him, but it'll probably be worse. I think he was in it for the bag. He's got the bag. Yeah, because there were videos surfacing of him partying the previous night, pretty drunk.
He never wanted to fight. He wanted the money.
Yeah.
He wanted the fame.
He wanted the attention also on Twitter. And I think he's a world-class troll. Like, you have to give him credit for that. Like, he manages to get under the skin of...
He got a lawsuit against him though, so is it worth it?
What do you think about that lawsuit? Do you think anything's going to happen? Like, I don't see him doing anything wrong. He's just posted stuff that's already online.
But
unless he's hacked into something and got it, then that's a different thing. But
the thing is, I'll create the scenario. Let's say you have an image of yourself drinking somewhere outside. Okay, I take that image and I show it to a priest somewhere that you go. Okay, show it to a priest. I show it to conservative society. It's public information.
Yeah,
but it's targeted harassment.
But if it's posted by myself and it's online, then everyone's free to use it, right?
Everyone's free to use it, but okay, think of it. A priest is not going to be on your Instagram. But if I show it to a priest, was your photo intended to go towards the priest?
I mean, if that was posted online on a social media platform and Dillon is also posting it on a social media platform, how is that?
To do it continuously, it's very evident that he was doing it for a reason.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree. So now in these targeted harassment cases, the court is going to look at three factors. Whether there was a cause of action, whether there was intent, yes. Whether it was against one person targeting him or her, again, true. 3, is there something for him to benefit in the whole situation? If I'm somebody, I like anger and an influencer in this boxing setting, I make Logan angry. He has incentive to do the fight with me.
Yeah.
He fights me. I get fame. I get money. I get the bag. So again, all the prerequisites to targeted harassment are being fulfilled.
Yeah.
So how is it not?
But then what do you think will happen? Like he's gonna
have to pay them.
Like is there going to be a settlement or what do you think will happen?
There's no jail time as such. He'll get compensated for it. From what I think Logan takes his misfits bag. Because that's something, Logan doesn't need the money.
Yeah.
He needs the attention, he needs the revenge in a sense.
Yeah.
So what he does is, everything Dillon did it for, you take that away from him.
Fair enough, yeah.
So it's not something that he's counting on. It's not like he's going to invest that money, he's going to make returns out of it. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
Whether it's 200k or 500k makes no difference. He's just going to take that away. So essentially, Dillon comes into the scenario where he did this for months. He lost the fight. He became a laughingstock and he lost all his money.
Yeah.
So he never comes back to public again.
I don't think anyone puts him on a boxing card again, especially on a pay-per-view card.
You think he puts himself on a boxing card again?
I think he will because he's shameless that way. And credit to him. Like, good for you. Make
It's
money.
credit to be
Yeah, exactly.
shameless.
Make money however you want. Like, I'm not going to be the judge for that. But I don't think anyone's going to put him on a pay-per-view card anymore.
Misfits is unlikely. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
But actually, the thing is, you do anything for money, you know that he gets clicks, you know he's going to sell you a fight. It makes business sense to put him on a card.
I don't think he makes them that kind of money for the next fight because everyone's seen what had happened. Like, there were actually people who thought Dillon will win. I don't think anyone's going to think that going into his next fight now.
Think of it in this scenario. You dislike somebody so much, you want to see them get beat up.
You're talking about like how Floyd Mayweather sold his fights. Being the heel.
Being the heel.
Yeah.
Or you think of an Andrew Tate right now. People want to see him get hurt.
Yeah.
Why would you not put him on the card?
But that's
So
true.
even if he's going to lose the fight, if you want to punch somebody, but you can pay an actual athlete to punch him 10 times during 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So why would you not do that?
So you think it will still work? Maybe for someone like Andrew Tate it will work, but for Dillon now more than hated, he's just become a laughingstock. Like I don't think anyone had too strong of like for Logan Paul, yes, he has that hate behind him. But do you think Dillon has? He's just become a laughingstock now. Like people will think it's a waste of their time.
Yeah, but when you think of it like somebody or nobody that is trying to make it in the misfit scene itself, Dillon is a no-brainer fight. Because even if you're somebody that wants to, let's say you want to fight the Jake Pauls and the KSIs and the Logans eventually.
Yeah.
But like you have to start from the bottom. That's the reason why Pineda is still on the card. But then it makes sense to fight Dillon. You know you're going to win.
Yeah.
You know people are going to talk about
No,
it.
I know people from the opponent's perspective will. I'm just saying to sell the fight, he won't have that kind of appeal anymore.
Yeah, that's there.
Yeah.
But it could come down to ego as well. He needs to redeem himself because
Yeah.
like nobody is going to
Take him seriously yeah.
anymore.
Or maybe he has an MMA fight with Logan if he agrees to that.
I feel Logan beats him there also.
In an MMA fight?
Yeah.
I mean, he has an MMA background too, but I don't think he'll...
Logan had a sparring session against, I think, Costa or somebody, and I think he did really well defending. Like, and so it can come down to stamina as well, and I think Dillon is long retired.
Yeah.
So, and Logan is at his peak, man. He's like 26 years old. He's a hunk.
Yeah.
So, I don't see why not.
I see Logan fighting Conor next in a boxing fight.
Very different weight classes. Conor is like 145.
But Logan will either cut or they'll just make it an exhibition fight.
The
Because I
highest
feel you can sell that fight.
the highest Conor would go is 170. 170. Logan
How much is Logan? 195?
must be 200, 205 easy. But for him to lose like 30 pounds is a lot, man. Like, how do you lose 30
Or they can
pounds?
make it an exhibition one.
Like the Floyd versus that Japanese guy.
Something that way, yeah.
But then that's a worthless fight.
But the Tyson Fury, he's fighting that guy, right?
Francis
Francis
Ngannou. No,
Ngannou.
that's nothing on paper.
It's done, right, for next month.
Tyson and Ngannou?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think so.
Let me check.
Because Ngannou is with PFL right now.
Yeah, but he got permission. Tyson Fury. He had even come on Rogan to
Who, Ngannou?
sort of promote the fight. Yeah.
Fury promotes way too many fights for his liking, but he takes none of them. He's
Yeah.
he's promoted AJ for like 5 years now. So that's not something that surprises me.
Okay, it's set for October 28th. So that will be an interesting one. And after that, it's going to be Usyk.
Usyk is fine. They
But
both-
Usyk's recent fight was kind of underwhelming.
I didn't watch the entire fight, but
Like, that was another shady decision. That's boxing,
That's
you
just
know, that's
boxing,
boxing.
yeah.
Like, even yesterday, the KSI fight.
I was surprised Eddie Hearn took a stance against the judges, because if Eddie Hearn is telling me that KSI should have won that fight, there must be some merit to it.
Yeah.
Because he's probably the best boxing promoter right now.
Hmm.
So then how do you go against his word?
Yeah.
So now if you appeal against somebody that is as well educated as Eddie, what does that say about boxing? Either you can say that they back their judges, or you can say that they're so delusional that they're going to back their judges regardless of the consequences of it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think those judges go on to an Eddie Hearn card ever again.
Probably. Because you should see the fight. Like, KSI came all guns blazing. You know, first round he easily won. The second round he got hit to the head, which was a -1. So it was 10-9 and 10-8 already. So for it to even be a draw, Fury had to win the next 4 rounds, which is what I scored it. I scored it as 57 all, which is what one judge scored. But the other 2 judges gave it to Fury 57-56.
Somebody gave-
So that means that the only round he lost is the 10-8 one, and he's won the other ones. Like, the first one, anyone watching it will say that KSI has won it. So I'm really surprised at how they came to that conclusion.
I remember seeing the scorecard, and I think Judge 1 or somebody, I think, gave round 2 to Fury
Wait, really?
after a deduction.
Oh,
So
I didn't see the individual round scores. I just saw the overall scores.
I saw it on Twitter, I think this morning. People were angry about that.
Yeah, it's a
Saying
-1, so you can't.
-1, so how do you...
Yeah, I mean,
It was a 9-8 or something. So I'm like, so how is that possible? I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. I don't know. But
That
that's
was
what
very-
these people are doing, man. But I think it should have been an 8-round fight. I think both of them could go the distance.
Easily.
At least 8.
Yeah, they could have easily done it. And I feel both of them have a fight to sell if they want a rematch.
Yeah.
But God knows, man. Fury has no incentive anymore.
Yeah, he's
the
beaten Jake, he's beaten KSI.
So there's no incentive anymore. He can say that you can put up anything, your best, I beat both of them.
Yeah, that's true. But I can understand KSI's point of view. Like, I won't say he's a bitter loser, because that decision shocked everyone. Like, even the most neutral of people.
Yeah, I feel bad for them also. But like, I think the way I've read, I haven't watched the fight, but I think JJ put a better account of himself than Jake did versus Fury.
Yeah,
that's what I heard.
That is very true.
So then that becomes a good debate to have, that whether JJ beats.
Yeah, I think that was in a way to set up the Jake versus KSI fight, which I think that will again do good numbers.
It's a better narrative for Fury to beat both, them to fight. The winner goes to Fury.
Yeah, that could
It's
be
a good narrative.
That could be a good narrative.
So then, whether they did that intentionally, can't say. Because Jake losing to Fury was unexpected.
Yeah. But I think down the line, you might even see a Logan versus Jake fight. Because the kind of arguments they make public, I feel some of them are staged. Like, you might have disagreements with your brother, but you market yourselves as these really tight brothers and all. Why do you put all of this out in public?
Or put this one out there. Jake and Logan, that tag team thing they did.
Oh, yeah.
Jake and Logan versus Deji and JJ. Who stops them?
Yeah, I mean, that can also be a good. But I think Logan and KSI are business partners.
Yeah,
They're too pally now, yeah.
They would need some fight.
Like, even Logan came to his aid at the end of the fight at KSI, so I don't think that bad blood is
That's
there
just a
anymore.
friend thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would do that.
Yeah.
But